Good morning, gamers. I last night talked to Yeehaw, the guy who runs Mann magazine, who is currently under fire for a whole lot of different allegations right now. And what I learned is that he definitely knows that he did some stuff wrong. And I think that it's important to look at my conversation with him, and we can you guys can figure out for yourselves what you think. But I personally think that the guy's not fit to run this publication. That seems to be the public response as well, but he doesn't seem to think so. It's weird, but let's take a quick little look. So this was last night at, I think, 9. But I was hearing some stuff earlier in the day where he was like, where it sounded like he was going to get called out. And so I followed him. And the first thing he does is says, "Oh man, a daws follow." I say, "Hello." And he says, "What brings you here?" I think that people are starting to figure out a little bit that I'm kind of like the harbinger of TF2 drama, you know, because imagine getting a daws follow and your first reaction is to be like, "Oh man, a daws, oh, I gotta ask him what he's doing following me. That's not good." that's not good. And so I just ended up saying, "Hey, Mann magazine, a bunch of my mutuals are following you as well, so I figured I should follow you too." And he said, "Oh God, poor choice." What? Huh? What are you talking about? I don't retweet anything coherent with TF2 except Mann magazine stuff. I say, "Okay, that's fine too. Just working to expand my network." A little bit of a fib, but it's important to follow people who you need to keep track of. And then right around here, so at 9:11 p.m., that's when, or just a little bit before that, that's when Smith made the post about all of the allegations against Yeehaw. And so he says, "Oh, I'm getting my dick sliced off" in the quote retweets. And I'm like, you can imagine why. I think that it's weird to immediately go to me and be like, "Hey, people don't like me." What are you doing? And he says, "All cards on the table, getting followed by you and then getting that thrown at me is pretty funny, all things considered. God works in mysterious ways." What can I say? God works in mysterious ways. I think he meant, am I next on the chopping block? And if I am, could you clean Fruity Crits' blood first? I don't want to touch that. I don't know. So is he important enough to have on the chopping block? I don't know. I am finding myself becoming a drama channel, which is a little bit funky. I didn't expect to be doing that, but I do love talking about drama, so I'm okay with it. And I don't know, so the Fruity Crits thing, that's Tyler 404. The guy who was dating the informant in the last video that I made was like the big he was the big boogeyman there, and he's just going on another tirade pretending to be Fruity Crits. And so I think that's what he meant by this. He's like, "Can you focus on Fruity Crits first and then come after me," or something like that. But weirdly enough, you can totally look at two people at the same time when it comes to drama. So I don't know if he knows that, but I say, have you done anything worth putting you up on the chopping block? Seems kind of like you have, but I want to know your side of it. I'm not going to run with one side of a story. Do you have any response to the allegations levied against you? You'll notice that I start to talk a little bit like a weirdo, a little bit like a lawyer freak kind of thing, you know? The reason why is because he does as well, and it's very weird, it's very odd, but I didn't want to you gotta match their energy sometimes, otherwise you're gonna be left in the dust. He says, "Me and my high staff are working on a statement as we speak. Admittedly, I went to the school of say nothing and it goes away," which is fascinating to me because, so one, he has a high staff. I wish I had a high staff. Damn, that would make this a whole lot easier. But he says that with his high staff, he is working on a statement. Must be the statement that we saw that last night at, like 10 hours ago or something like that from time of recording. And him saying that he went to the school, say nothing and it goes away, that is so weird. That is so weird. People are saying, like, you did something wrong. And he's like, well, I think that if I say nothing, it should go away, right? What? I mean, maybe, kinda, in some cases, but when you're running a publication, okay, and yes, it's like a little fan-made publication, whatever, but if you're running a publication like this, no, it's not, you can't say nothing, because then everyone's gonna look at it and be like, oh, damn, that, don't go to Mann magazine, they hire pedophiles, they hire pedophiles while having minors on the team, are you kidding me? That kind of thing. And so it's like I'm not a big fan of that argument. I say, for someone who went to that school, you're a big fan of doxing people, allegedly. And then his thing, he immediately, dude, I swear to God, because the informant did this too. What does dox actually mean? Like, genuinely. Why, dude, I say it later, but that is such a bad look to be like, well, okay, define dox. Define dox. Like, did I dox somebody? I don't know. Define it. For the love, we all know what doxing means in this context. We all know that it's the use of personal information when you're not, like, in a personal conversation with this person. So Yeehaw is running around using somebody's first and last name, Smithsmith's first and last name, after Smithsmith has asked them not to, and they continue to do it. We get into it later, but I don't know. It's really disingenuous. It feels bad to me. I'm not a big fan of that kind of argument. And then I say exactly that. This is a bad look if you're asking me to define doxing for you. I think you understand what doxing is in this context, correct? He says, because I won't lie, I called him his name exclusively because I thought I found it on his Steam profile. I do not remember where I properly learned it. I also misunderstood him saying don't say that was from embarrassment. I have also never written it down in our work server. So I don't think that, I would imagine that Smith is who we're talking about, probably didn't have it on their Steam profile. If I had to throw out a guess, probably not, because who does that? who makes a Steam profile and says, "Oh, well, this is my first and last name. This is my first and last name. Come say hi, botters or whatever." I don't think that's real. It could be a lie. He could be telling the truth. I'm not sure. But no matter what, Smith went to Yeehaw and said, "Hey, I don't like it how you use my personal information." And Yeehaw says that I misunderstood him saying, "Don't say that," was from embarrassment. Now, in the statement that Yeehaw made earlier today, or last night, whatever, in the statement, he says that the whole doxing thing was a misunderstanding. This is the misunderstanding he's referring to. This is not a misunderstanding. Even if Smith was just if Smith's real name was Pumpernickel Jr. or something like that, and Smith said, "Hey, please don't use my name. Please don't use that name." Even if Smith was just embarrassed about it, that does not give Yeehaw the right to go and use Smith's name against Smith as well. I don't know. It seems really clear cut and easy for someone to take care of, especially someone who is working at a place with the title of head whatever of Mann magazine. That's ridiculous to claim that that's the misunderstanding, so he can't be criticized for it. I don't think that anyone would really agree with that one, but that's me. And then he says, replying to this is a bad look, he says, "I feel it's as if I am in a damned if I do, damned if I don't thing." Kinda. I mean, people aren't gonna like you no matter what, so I mean, yeah, doxing is bad. This was really late. I was in bed with my girlfriend, and we were just chatting about it. And dude, she's the smartest person ever. She knows what I'm talking about here. It's just crazy. I'll cut that. I say, I mean, yeah, doxing is bad. He says, I do not fully care about what happens to me, but I would rather attempt to grasp the charges against me. That's weird. That's weird. I don't care what happens. Okay, dude, you're not a... This isn't like super serious. This isn't a government takedown. This isn't anything crazy. You did something stupid. You did a lot of stupid things. And you put people in danger, and you're doxing people, which aren't nothing. But at the end of the day, this is like, why are you saying, all right, put me on death row. I'm ready. Whatever you guys are gonna do to me, just do it. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? You're an idiot. What are you talking about? And then this is back up. This is my point when I was saying, as far as I know, Smith asked you not to be using their info, but you continue to do that. Was it a troll, get under their skin kind of thing? He said, I refer to most associates by their last name. I had referred to him by his last name a handful of times before he has told me to stop. I continued because I misunderstood the request. And again, the misunderstanding is, oh, I thought that Smith was just embarrassed about it. That's not a reason to continue to use this person's private info. That's not a reason to use this person's personal info without their again, that's not a reason to use Smith's info after they ask you to stop. Even if they're embarrassed, you should stop. I understand that any defense I present will be picked in pride, but I will do my best exclusively because I'd rather not have this hang over me for weeks at a time. Oh, you want to know a really easy way to not have this hang over you for weeks at a time? Step down. That's like the only real way I can see it. Because at the end of the day, is any of this like illegal? Is any of this like absolutely 100% evil? I don't think so. None of it is coming across to me as like, this person is an evil person and doesn't deserve to be around. Not necessarily, but I sure as shit don't think that he can run Mann magazine with thought processes like this. This is kind of crazy, right? I don't know. But him saying, I understand that any defense I present will be picked in pride. Yeah, that's what happens when you're getting accusations levied against you. I don't know. It ain't that deep. I would argue, misunderstanding someone asking you not to use their IRL name is not a defense against doxing them, similar to ignorance of the law. He quickly Googles what doxing actually is because they really like to fall back on this one. And he says, I have not intentionally searched for his name or published it. You have published it without Smith requesting for you to. And I don't care if you intentionally search for it or not, you have it. Like, this is getting down into semantics of doxing. Like, what does it mean to dox? I never looked for it. It was given to me. Blah blah blah. It's all BS. I'm not I don't ascribe to this thought process. I think the best way to not have this hang over you is to stop using the personal info that Smith asked you not to use and apologize for doing so. Makes sense, right? Hey, I kept on using your name because I was being a dick. I'm sorry. I'll stop. Let's move on from this. I think that's easily solved. As for the other accusations, those seem less easily solvable. This is something that we'll get into just a little bit later. I'm trying to hurry. I still have to go to work today. I have a 9 to 5. Dude. He says, I've been blocked Smith for months now. That said, hit me with another charge. Okay, so this is his argument against, like, I can't apologize to Smith. I've been blocked. I've been blocked for months. I don't care. There are ways to get around it. Obviously, don't make new accounts and then go and harass Smith. But a really easy way to do it is to make a public apology. Be like, hey, I'm sorry for this. And I have to look back at his tweet or the Mann magazine response to see if that apology is in there and if it's good enough. I will have to go back and look at it, but we'll do that. And then he just moves on. That said, hit me with another charge. bruh. I can't actually read all these parts due to being blocked. I say, as Smithmas has publicly accused you, you should be publicly apologizing to Smithmas, especially now that everyone is seeing what you're doing. Easy enough. And then I sent him the screenshots of all of the accusations. He says, Albite has been fired. I am so confused on what actually the threat I am making is. Okay, so if you guys haven't seen these allegations here, basically it sums up to 3 things as of right now. Smithmas has been getting doxxed by Yeehaw. Okay. Yeehaw allowed a P word to be working on Man Magazine while Man Magazine was being worked on by minors, and Yeehaw was accused of threatening Smithmas with 4D chess. Dude, this guy Yeehaw, I'm not kidding, talks a little bit like a weirdo, and he mentions it too, where he's like, yeah, people think I talk weird, and I'm like, well, you said it. So those are the main accusations that were levied against Yeehaw. And so he says Albite has been fired. Done deal. Easy. Done. That's been fixed. And I believe that in his apology too, in his statement from Man Magazine, that's all that he talks about with Albite too, which is just he's gone. So nothing bad happened. That's not true. Something bad definitely did happen, and it's due to your lack of leadership. I say, so he's asking what the threat that he was making to Smithmas was. I say the quote, keep your arms down and you won't have to play 4D chess with us is the threat that they're referring to. Pretty straightforward. That's a threat. I don't do this or else this will happen to you. That's a threat. I don't know. He says, don't get me wrong, that was a relatively heated message in a chain of bad faith messages from the both of us. And from my memory of watching Smithmas deal with Fruity Crits that one time, that journalistic proof comment was my premonition of an event similar to this. Bro has pulled out his thesaurus. It is getting serious. I think that he's saying here, like, neither of us liked each other, and so the threat makes sense. Okay, in the heat of the moment, you threatened him, or you threatened Smithmas, but you still threatened Smithmas. It's not again. This isn't a defense. And I ask, how long was Albite working on Man Magazine? How long did he know about his deviancy? He was the guy, the P word that was working on the magazine. He says, "Forgive me, I speak in dumbass phrases." Yeah, you do. That was me trying to ask him to stop trying to throw stuff at me, and in exchange, I won't be on his radar. Okay, so, again, he's taking this threat, right? He's saying, no, that wasn't a threat. I was making a deal. I was saying, that was me trying to ask him to stop trying to throw, please stop throwing stuff at me. In exchange, I won't fucking track you down. Like, what? That's a threat. I don't know. That's a threat. I say, so he says, forgive me, I'm speaking dumbass phrases earlier, and I say, it's not for me to forgive you. I'm not the one you threatened. This could be solved with another public apology to Smithmas. Okay, his whole point of, like, it was heat of the moment, whatever. Maybe that's true. Go and, again, publicly apologize about this kind of thing, because it's ridiculous that you would just be quiet, as you say, be quiet, and it fixes itself. That doesn't happen. That's not real. He says, he is insisting that he is afraid of me, and that I am some big monster that could snuff him out. I am literally just a college student. College students can be dicks too. Pretty easy. And I say, you were threatening Smithmas, kind of like a big monster would. Yeah, that makes sense. He says, a threat would imply that I am going to do something. I am still confused on what I would be poised to do. That's true. He didn't say, do this or else I'll fucking kill you. He said, do this or else you're gonna have to be in this 4D chess battle. None of these guys can play 4D chess. I'm the only one that plays 4D. I play 5D chess, okay? This guy has no idea what 4D chess actually is. And so maybe that's why he's confused on what the threat was. Implying that someone has to play 4D chess against you is a threat in and of itself, because that means, like, I'll take you down and you won't even know how. Like, that's... So I don't think that he's putting up a good defense at all, but especially there. He says, I want effectively nothing to do with this guy, and yet he shows up now and again. I'm going to apologize, but I'm not sure on my means to delivery. ManMag, Twitter, or this one. Excuse me. So he's saying, I am going to apologize, but I don't know if I'm going to do it on... I don't know how to do it because I don't know what account to do it on. I don't care. Figure that out. He says, I want effectively nothing to do with this guy. Then stop using Smithsmith's name in conversation. Just recently, Smithsmith has brought up that Yeehaw has been using Smithsmith's name. So that's not nothing to do with this guy, especially after Smithsmith said, hey, please don't dox me. That is this guy going out of his way to mess with Smithsmith indirectly while saying, oh, but I want nothing to do with Smithsmith. He's a hypocrite, you know. I don't know. Your threat was to Smithsmith that if they continued doing something you didn't like, they'd be put in a game of 4D chess with you, which could be many things. That one is kind of what I explained a little bit earlier. That's a silly thing. I was under the active impression that he was trying to play 4D chess with me already. Bruh, nobody's trying to play 4D chess. Smithsmith said, hey, stop using my name. And you said, fuck off. I'm going to keep using your name. There's no 4D chess here. You're being stupid. You're being dumb. I say... Okay, I put on my dad hat and I say, look, you're a college student. I think that this whole thing is likely caused by hurt feelings and the pride and senses of entitlement, likely on both sides of the coin. Smithsmith has said that they want to be left alone as well do you. Smithsmith said that they want to be left alone as well as do you. The solution here is for you to apologize to Smithsmith for continuing to use their private information flippantly despite their requests. Seems on your end to be a simple mistake. Mistakes happen. Sometimes you just have to throw these guys a bone and see if they take it. As for the threatening, this could be solved with a public apology as well. Emotions can run high, and people can say things they don't mean. I'm sure you understand that. Yeah, that one is the easy one, I think. For this guy, like, the threat, dude, just apologize. You were being dumb and stupid and an idiot, and you were threatening someone. First, you have to admit that you were threatening someone, and then you can apologize for it. Easy. And then I reply back up to that Albite working on Mann magazine question. These questions are of more importance that cannot be solved as easily as they're an issue when it comes to the management of Mann magazine. That, I believe, is something the public deserves more information on. In his apology, or in the statement that Mann magazine has put out, they brushed over this. They said he was fired, so don't worry about it. No, it's something to worry about, because we'll see. He was working there for longer than you would expect. He blames Twitter UI for not seeing this question. Maybe, I don't know. Albite was working at Mann magazine for a tad while, was a part of a project I was attempting to run to obtain more funds to help increase staff payouts. He was responsible for our Men at 10 videos, which will likely never happen again. I had Albite's Twitter muted for the longest time because when we met, we had very different interests. I would hope so. It was only recently, after a staff walkout and a high staff intervention, that I was convinced that I had to do something. Okay. So, we know that Albite was working at Mann magazine for a while, okay? And when they met back in high school, we'll find out, Albite's Twitter got muted by Yeehaw because they had very different interests. Albite's Twitter feed is full of what is essentially drawn CP, right? It's a whole lot of lolly stuff, and it's really gross. And yeah, I don't recommend looking into it because it leaves a gross taste in my mouth. I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of pedos. I don't know. But this guy was friends with the pedo for a really long time. I say, when did you meet Albite in the first place? Years ago, through an old acquaintance who he went to high school with. Okay, so my bad. He didn't meet him in high school. They met years ago. If this guy's in college now, it's pretty likely he was in high school, but we don't know that for sure. They've known each other for a long time. I say, how long is a tad while for working at Mann magazine? December to last week of June. So, last week of June this year? Damn, that's way... Damn. That's okay. That's too long to have a pedo working on a magazine that has minors working on it as well. I say, understand, thank you. Anything else you want to ask before I refer back to my staff about how I roll the dice with death? Guys, is he calling me the dice with death? Or is he calling the court of public opinion the dice with death? I don't know. But this guy's clearly a little bit stressed out about it. Doesn't seem like an innocent guy to me, but that's just me. That's just me. I'm sure that you guys are gonna make your own opinions, but yikes. I say, did you foresee an issue having Albite, someone with interests like his, working on a team with a number of minors? And what are your thoughts on this course of action? That's me talking about he should apologize for it. He says, I was unaware of these interests. When I met him, VTubers just came out, and I am not a fan. I muted him years back. One of these VTubers is someone who Owl calls his wife, who is canonically 12 years old. Take that for what you will. I don't think that this is a good argument, and we get into it a little bit later. Being unaware of those interests isn't good. That means that you're not managing. That means that you're not. We'll get into it. I say, when did you become aware of those interests, aka deviancy? He says, I think you summed it up to a T, and I will be stealing this plan of action as it clearly beats my absolute indifference. So he's just saying, I'll apologize. I say, absolute indifference is not... Also, he's claiming that he is being absolutely indifferent while going and using Smith's personal information. That's not being indifferent. That's being a dick. That's actively going out of your way to disregard Smith's wishes and instead incite drama. That's not being indifferent. And that's basically what I say here. When did you become aware of those interests? Like I said, he says, within the week of his termination, when there was a staff walkout over it, I didn't fully believe the claims and was angered over it. In the days following, there was a much more formal intervention. Okay, so this guy didn't know that one of his workers was a pedo until a bunch of his staff walked out over the fact that he wasn't doing anything about the pedo on the team. That seems weird to me. So he says a little bit later that... Did he talk about that yet? No, okay. Okay, that seems weird. We'll get into it. He says, I meant my plan of do nothing and say nothing, but you hold a fair point. That's regarding my absolute indifference is not indifference. And I say, well, yeah, my point's correct. Yeah, I'm right. So that fair point is not a fair point. That's the point. That's the point, yeah. And it seems as though you were saying things, which isn't exactly say nothing, do nothing, but once again, I believe that could be solved cordially. I ask, when was he terminated? When was Owl terminated? Did your staff not let you know of their grievances with Owl before staging a walkout? He says, I think we got a smidge lost in the semantics, but I think we follow each other well enough. He was the one that was arguing, well, what is a dox earlier? So, whatever. I do not recall the date, but it was before this post. Most staff generally avoid talking to me due to my manner of speaking. This guy runs a magazine. How do you run a magazine when you yourself are like, yeah, my staff can't stand me. My staff think I'm fucking nuts, so I don't talk to them a lot. Bruh, are you kidding me? Okay. I say the only semantics that we've had is wondering what it means to dox. I get in there. I absolutely roast this guy. Get got. I say, your staff avoids you due to your manner of speaking? What do you mean by that? He says that the date of Owl's termination was after 6/26. Okay. He says... in response to your staff avoids you due to your manner of speaking, he says, taking a step back, I talk like an asshole and in odd phrases. I come off as a condescending absolutist, and staff do not like me much. They instead talk to their department heads. The department heads then talk to me, likely something that ties back to that youthful pride. He knows he's a dick. That's crazy. Change it, dude. You don't have to be a dick. It's not, well, I guess I'm just a youthful, proud person. No! You're a youthful idiot if that's what you think. Go change your shit. Learn how to talk to people. What are you talking about? And I say, throughout that entire line of communication, from your lower staff through your middle staff up to you, through that entire line of communication, you were never made aware of the fact that one of your staff members was a sexual deviant until you had a staff walkout. That seems hard to believe. Mind you, I'm coming from the viewpoint of the public who reads Mann magazine and would not want to support that kind of behavior. Seems a little weird, right? To be the top dog and you don't happen to hear that one of your people is a pedo before there's a mass walkout. You don't think that any of the staff members were like, hey, I don't like this guy because of this. And then that got up the line of communication up to the top guy. And then he's like, oh, we should do something about it. We should look at that. No, it took from December to June. It took you 7 months to figure that out? Or did it take you 7 months to start believing that it might be true since you were friends with this guy since about high school? He says, so I say throughout the entire line of communication, blah, blah, blah. He says, you'd think, right? I never got the proper thrashing until recently. I say, are you putting the burden of knowing who your staff are and the safety of the minors within your staff onto the staff itself? Because it sounds here like he's blaming the Mann magazine staff for not telling him that there was a pedo. That's not, dude. That's not how managing works. I've managed a grocery store before. Okay, I've managed a grocery store, and let me tell you, it is not. Oh, well, if a lower person comes up to me, then I'll do something. That's how you have a bad manager. You need to actively be out there and being like, okay, what's wrong? Tell me what I can do different. Tell me what needs to change, and we'll make it better. And that's how you do it. I don't think this guy knows it. Whatever. He says, elaborate. Minors that are on this team currently are not brought on by me. I decide to let them stay via grandfather rule. I don't think that's what the grandfather rule is. As to not upset them. A decision I regret. Yeah, no shit. I would regret it too. I say, surely you'd agree that these issues are issues the top of the management chain needs to be aware and cognizant of at all times. Is it not up to the staff it is not up to your staff to background check your other staff members. No, that's what the top guy, that's all the manager does. That's all he does is say, are you fit to work for me? Yes. Okay, come on in. That's all you do. That's all you do. Even if your staff brought on a minor to work at Mann magazine, it is ultimately your responsibility to watch out for their safety and well-being while they're a part of your staff. Dude, that's why you just don't hire minors, okay? Just, look, if you're as incompetent as this guy is, just say, are you 18 or older? Okay, then you can be on here. Because then you get problems like this. And it's freaking weird. I don't know. You're a college student who's like babysitting for... You're a college student who's actively hiring minors onto a project to work potentially for money? That can't end good. He says, you hold a fair point. I suppose I was within the bounds of the word negligent. He's sidestepping. Yeah, I was wrong. I did a stupid fucking thing. I said, you were. That is correct. That is what it means to be in a head position. Do you believe you're fit to hold such a position? It seems as though it was more so thrust upon you than you vying for it. He had said earlier that he the top person that was on there, I can't remember their name at the moment, but the top person that was working at Smith's at Mann magazine ended up stepping down, and so he was kind of forced up is what he was referring to, and that's what I'm talking about here. It seems as though you were just thrust upon it, or it was thrust upon you, and so are you fit for it? He says, to be truthful, I am likely quitting within the next 6 months. I thought this was a role I wanted, but I'm clearly ill-equipped. This is the classic, I did a bad thing, I am going to take my paid leave and then go away, that kind of thing. It's like kind of a bullshit answer. You know, if you do something wrong, you are going to be criticized for it harshly, right? And he has done several things wrong. I think that it would be better for him to just step down now, but we'll take a look at the rest of this conversation first. I say... Dad hat again. Speaking as someone who was a college student once, I couldn't imagine taking on all of this and all of that at the same time. I don't think that there's any shame in saying that one isn't well equipped for a position. I'd almost take this drama as an opportunity to bow out. Of course, that's up to you and the public and the staff to decide. For the sake of Mann magazine, it may be worth it to do sooner rather than later. It depends on how much you value Mann magazine as a whole, as well as its staff and its audience. So my point here is, look, you should just bow out now. It kind of just depends. Whether you do or not is going to be a choice that you, your staff, and the public make. If the public says, no, we're not supporting Man Magazine anymore, this is evil, then you don't have a magazine anymore. So that's like the nuclear option. Otherwise, you should just step down now. People will look at it and be like, that's a tarnish on its reputation, but at least he did the right thing and left. But if you decide to stay for an extended amount of time, that is gonna kill the magazine. I don't know. And then if your staff decides to do a coup, then that's great. That's another Team Lovejoy kind of thing, and I'd be down to see that. He says, there is one project I want to see done first. I put $300 down on models for it, so I want to see it done first. I also keep running into an issue of finding a proper lead. Literally no one in my cabinet wants to lead. I don't care if it's going to be hard to find someone to run it. That's not your job if you quit. Okay, that's just how that works. And he says, I put $300 down on models for it, so I want to see it done first. Buddy, if you put $300 down on a thing, okay, and then you mismanage that thing, and you hire on a pedo to work with a bunch of minors, and blah, 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 all these fucking issues, you're going to lose $300 when you bow out. Sorry, that's just how it works. That's the risk that you take when you let shit like that happen. I don't know. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. I say that is going to be up for your staff, you, and the public to decide. It will be up to them to decide whether or not it should be now or later when he quits, is what I'm referring to. If they decide now, but you decide later, that will be a harsh stain on Man Magazine, like I said before. He couldn't read something right. He says, to be honest, I'm already internally talking about it. Call it rush and impulsive thinking, but between dealing with this and $300, I'd rather go to bed easy at night. I think that he's saying, I should just step down. I get it. I should just step down. Oh, poor me. Yeah, poor you. Blah, blah, blah. Why? Cry about it. Step down. You're a dick, and nobody wants to read a magazine run by a dick, except for the people who read, like, Vanity Fair or something. I say that's the thing. It's within your power to simply step down. You could just stop and let your staff decide what to do with it. If I were personally in your position right now, that's what I would do. I would step down, let them figure out what they're going to do, and focus on doing what I can for myself. But again, that's all in your control. I would just recommend to be responsible about it. I need to go to bed. I've got work in the morning. Clearly, that's not as important. If anything else comes up in your mind, feel free to reach out. I may have more questions in the future. I appreciate your time. Okay? Easy peasy. And then he says, my ass is out, meaning I'm done with Man Magazine, with the exception of one article next month. Thanks for not throwing me into Fruity Kritz's blood instantly. See you around. Does he think that, like, I was planning on, like, absolutely demolishing him with facts and logic? I did, but what does he mean, throwing me into Fruity Kritz's blood instantly? What the fuck does that mean? Like, no, I didn't call you names or anything, but you you still did a lot of stuff wrong. Like, I don't know what this is. So that's the conversation that we had. That's the conversation that I had. I'm gonna go look at his response now, and we'll take a look at that quick. Damn, that is crazy. They've been active after giving this. Oh, shit. I wonder if Unusually knows quite what's going on. Anyways, so this is a statement. That he had over this. We would like to address recent statements with the following clarifications. After a thorough discussion among our team, we made the decision to part ways with Albite in prior weeks. We did not find it necessary to publicly discuss this matter further. That is the biggest crock of horse shit I've seen here. That is literally the biggest thing that you need to be talking about right now. The fact that you had a pedophile, I'm going to have to censor that word, thank you, YouTube. The fact that you had someone like this working for a magazine that everybody likes to read, that people support, and on your staff you also had minors, that is not just he was fired, so don't worry about it. What? That's like the biggest thing in here. Yes, your stuff with Smith was bad, but that's not like ending of Man Magazine. That's ending of you, Yeehaw. This is what's ending of Man Magazine. you guys need to talk about that more. You need to discuss why you thought it was okay to keep him on when you knew that he had interests, right? You need to discuss why you waited so long, why you didn't know that your staff, or why you didn't know that this dude had these interests without having your staff completely walk out on you. That is 100% something that the public needs to know about. It's absurd that you're saying that it's not. That's that's crazy. That's insane. That's the biggest takeaway from this video, okay? You need to talk about this. And then afterwards, he says, regarding Yeehaw's reference to Smith Lights by last name only, this was due to a continued misunderstanding. Again, we discussed, not a misunderstanding. Smith said, please don't do this. And you said, I don't care. I'm going to keep using this. We apologize for any confusion this may have caused and assure you that this will not happen again. After months of stewing in today's events, I apologize. That's Yeehaw's statement? That's the apology? You're a fucking loser. Are you kidding me? That's all you can come up with? After months of suing and being called out for it, I'm sorry. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? That is a crock of horse shit. That's crazy. That's absurd. Nobody should fall for that, by the way. I hope that this post blows up because that is 100% bullshit. He says, an attempt at managerial restructuring will occur within the next month. Thank you for your patience with Mann magazine. Fuck off. That's crazy. You just shrugged off everything. All of the allegations, you didn't even say they're not true. You just skirted around them in the most Weasley way possible. Albite was fired, so don't worry about it. And Smith, it was a misunderstanding. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a misunderstanding. You were purposefully doxing someone without their consent, who doxes to a consent, or who consents to doxing? I don't know. But then also, you had this pedo lined up in your staff with minors, and that's just something that you're expecting us to shrug off. No, it's not. That's something that we are absolutely going to be talking about more. The only way that you can solve this, I think that the only way that you can actually solve this is to step down right now. I think that if you don't want Mann Magazine to be tarnished completely, and I don't want to see this, I don't want to see Mann Magazine tarnished. I like this magazine. I read through it every so often, and it's so cool how it brings together a lot of the people in the TF2 community. It's neat, right? It's cool. I like how you got, like, actual big stars to play a role in this. But unfortunately, if you keep this up, if you do stay on for that month, that's going to be an entire month knowing that this person is the person who is still working on Mann Magazine and hosting it and being the leader of it. I don't think that anybody should think that that's a safe environment to work in. I personally don't think so. So my advice, again, I gave this advice earlier to him. Step down, bow out, let them figure out who's dealing with it. You're going to have to eat the $300. Sorry, that's what happens when you be a complete douchebag to people. And say, hey, it's your guys' now. I'm sorry, I'm bowing out. Like, let me go. Like, I'm sorry. I'm gone. I'm done. That's the best way to go about this. I think that if anything else happens in this whole thing, I will be there to talk about it. I'm going to continue being the harbinger of TF2 social media cancellation. Should this guy be fuck, just you don't deserve to be working there. That's for damn sure. That's the 100% thing I can say. Get out of there, let everybody else figure it out, and you just go do college. Go be a college student. Like, shit. So that's this video. I'm going to try to get this up fast, but I do have to work, so we're going to have to see. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you want more drama, and also leave comments. Leave comments about what you think is going on here, because I am very curious on the public's idea of this. That's the end. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.